Has anyone ever told you you can rub a bar of soap on squeaky car belts to quiet them down? Well, folks, that's a myth. Today I'm breaking down 7 common car myths that could cost you serious money if you believe them. We're going to find out which myths are total BS and which ones might have a grain of truth to them. Now, the first myth is that you could use a thicker oil than is called for in your engine to stop oil leaks. Now, while that might have been a temporary solution in the past with older cars, it doesn't work anymore. So today's more modern engines, they're built with a lot tighter tolerances. So you can't just use any old oil that you want to. You really have to use the oil that's called for in your manual or usually on your oil cap. So this engine calls for a 0W20 oil. I wouldn't want to be sticking a 530 in here because it's a lot thicker than what's supposed to be in there. So the engine would really struggle to get that oil up to the top of the engine through the little oil passages. So you would end up with probably some oil starvation at startup. And this is especially true on cold starts. So if you're using a thick oil on a cold morning, the danger of damaging your engine would actually be even greater. All that extra pushing your engine has to do has also been shown to reduce gas mileage. So unless you have a 67 Chevy, just stick with what the oil cap calls for. Don't get fancy with your oil. The next myth is that after jump starting your car, all you need to do is drive it around a little bit and it will fully recharge that battery. Now, when your car is running normally, the alternator is running the electronics of the car and keeping this battery topped off. And what this alternator is not designed to do is to charge dead batteries. So when you jump start a dead battery with someone else's car and then you disconnect it, well, now this alternator is trying to charge the dead battery in your car, and that puts a tremendous amount of stress on it. This is why people will often mysteriously have to replace their alternator days after their battery died. Secondly, car batteries are not designed to ever be fully depleted. They're not like your phone battery that can totally die and then be recharged a whole bunch of times. It's really bad for a lead acid battery to be totally dead and then recharged. Now, obviously, sometimes being jump started is the only way to get home if you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. But ideally, if you do have the option, it's best to remove a dead battery, put it on a trickle charger so that it's charged up properly and slowly, then put back in the car to start it up. Now, your alternator over there is not a trickle charger. It's putting out a constant, flat, 14 volts, high amperage current. It's like jamming it into the battery. So trying to charge your car battery this way is putting stress on both these things, alternator and battery. So because of this, you might end up having to replace both these things sooner than you would have normally. One thing that's not a myth is how much you're going to enjoy future budget mechanic content. So make sure you subscribe and hit that alert bell. Now, the next myth is that you always want to take your car to your brand dealer because that's where you're going to get the best service. Because after all, they're the ones that made your car, so they should know best how to fix it, right? I know tons of people that refuse to take their car anywhere else but the dealer, even for stuff like oil changes. In reality, what makes a good mechanic is honesty, attention to detail, and years of experience. So just because a mechanic works at a dealership doesn't immediately mean they're going to do the best job. Now, dealerships focus on one particular brand of car, which is great, but the reality is that the diagrams and the diagnostic software is available to any mechanic. So a good mechanic is going to be able to fix the majority of your car's problems, even outside the dealership. Additionally, and sometimes more importantly, taking your car to a dealership is almost always going to be more expensive than taking it to another mechanic, sometimes up to 2 to 3 times the cost. So believing this myth is really going to cost you. Now, the one way that a dealership could potentially save you some money is if your car is still under that factory warranty and they'll do the work for free, or there's like a safety recall and they do a repair at no cost to you. But outside of those cases, find yourself a reliable, reputable mechanic through word of mouth or whatever, and just take it to them. Save the money. The next myth is that if you're living in a warm climate, you don't need antifreeze. You can just put water in your radiator. Now, I run into this all the time because I live in Hawaii, and people think that because this is antifreeze and it doesn't freeze here, that they don't need it. Well, that's not actually true because antifreeze does 2 other things besides just not freezing. Antifreeze has a higher boiling temperature than water. So if you're using water in your cooling system, it will potentially overheat faster than antifreeze would. Another benefit of antifreeze is that it has ingredients in it that prevent corrosion. So it's circulating through your engine, preventing things like rust from happening inside your coolant system. Whereas I don't know if you know this about water, but it actually promotes things like rust. So if you're just using water in your coolant system, things will very quickly start to corrode, rust, and you get blockages, sediment, all kinds of nasty stuff inside your cooling system, which isn't good. If you want to see an example of how nasty this can get, you can check out our video we made on flushing a cooling system where someone used just water. It was pretty gross. So go out and buy yourself antifreeze for your engine. Don't cheap out and use water that's going to actually cost you a lot more money in the long run. Now, the next myth is that using high octane fuel or E-free gas in your car is going to make your engine run better and increase your gas mileage. A lot of people, when they pull up to the pump and they see the higher price on the ethanol-free gas or the premium gas, think that it's just better overall, that it's going to give them better engine performance and better gas mileage. Here's the thing. This myth is largely a result of really effective marketing. Most of the cars that us normal people drive are designed to run on regular gas with ethanol in it. So buying that premium gas when your engine isn't designed to work with that gas is going to offer little to no benefit in terms of performance or gas mileage. Now, as far as E-free or ethanol-free gas, it's great for small engines or if you're planning to let your car sit for a couple months at a time. But otherwise, cars are designed to run with that ethanol in it. So, unless you're driving a Ferrari or a lawnmower, get regular gas and save your money. So the next myth is that turning on your air conditioning while you're driving will reduce the vehicle's efficiency and power. Now, the air conditioning system does have a compressor, which is a high compression pump that the engine has to turn, which means that some horsepower is going to run that pump. But really the only way that you would notice the difference is if you're in a small engine car, like a little 4-cylinder. So if you're going up the side of a mountain in a Toyota Tercel and you turn off that AC, you might feel like a 0.78% boost in performance. But if you're in a V6 or V8 car, you're never going to feel that AC compressor turn on. Now, a lot of people will also suggest turn off your AC to get better gas mileage and just roll down the windows to stay cool. Well, it's been pretty clearly shown that driving with your windows down creates so much drag, it's more inefficient than running with the AC on. So, crank that AC and enjoy your trip to Grandma's house. All right, this last one is just for fun, but it's a myth you hear a lot, especially from the boys, and that's women are worse drivers than men. So I consulted the interwebs, and sure enough, men are considered better technical drivers. They have better reaction time, and they're more confident under pressure. But they do take more risks, which means more speeding, more aggressive driving, and they end up in more fatal car crashes. Women, on the other hand, tend to be more cautious and are involved in fewer serious accidents. So it really depends on what your definition of better is. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to want to check out this one we made on the top mistakes that DIY mechanics make all the time. And remember, keep the soap in the shower.